Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I want to talk about, does it make sense for people without guns to want to get advanced training on guns? Okay, and first of all, I tell people that before they buy guns, because remember a lot of people didn't grow up with guns. They grew up in cities. They really don't know anything about guns. They don't know any difference between a Glock and a High Point. They don't know how to use iron sights, or that guns even have iron sights. Um, so before, I tell people before they go and they buy a gun, they should get some training on guns, learn a little bit about them, learn what type of guns are best for what type of situations. So that's the first step. Get training first before you go and you just randomly buy the gun, or before you follow the advice of the guy in the gun store who's telling you that, yeah, there's a good gun, buy this. Because gun stores are typically motivated by profit, so they're going to push whatever gun they think is the most profitable one for you. They're not going to sit there and try to assess your particular type of situation. Okay, some might, but most won't. So that's one type of scenario, where basically you have people that don't know anything about guns. Definitely before you go buy a gun, you should learn something about them. Okay, particularly this safety wise. Okay, so you don't shoot yourself in the foot. Okay. Now, the other type of situation is where you have people that basically live in cities where it's hard to get guns, like let's say Los Angeles or New York City or Chicago. And there's a situation where these people, they're there for maybe a work-related reason. They don't plan on being there for the rest of their lives. So while they are there, they want to develop and maintain and advance their gun training. So that's another type of situation where you have people without guns that would want to get advanced training. Okay, and for that matter, you can have people in other countries, like let's say like Canada or England or Australia, where it's very hard for them to buy guns, that would want to come to a place like the United States where they can get some advanced gun training. Okay, now let's look at that scenario for a second. Why would people that live in places where they really have no chance of ever being able to buy guns, why would they want gun training? Now, first of all, the situation may be such that maybe they're not going to want to live there for the rest of their lives, or even if their plan is to live there, again, going beyond that, why would they want to get some advanced gun training? Well, one of the things that I tell people is that basically, you know we're basically one global disaster away from a return to slavery. Okay, if you had a major global disaster that affected the global food supply, okay, you would have a very desperate type of situation where basically governments would end up breaking down, law and order would end up breaking down, and basically you would have first you would have a major die-off, okay, because of the food shortages, and then at some point when things kind of settled down, you would have small societies starting to form. Okay, and within those societies, you would have basically two classes. You would have the people that know how to fight, and the people that don't know how to fight. Okay, and when I say the people that know how to fight, I'm also including their families in that. Okay, so basically, you're going to end up with a class society. Within the small communities, you would have the fighting class and then the farming class. Okay. Now here's the thing: you want to be in the fighting class. You don't want to be in the farming class because, even though things may start off really nice, and in the farming class, the peasant class, might initially get treated very well, and they might get a fair share of the food. Eventually, and I don't know whether we're talking about years or we're talking about generations, but eventually, what's going to happen is that the fighting class, okay, the people with the guns, the people that know how to fight, are going to start taking advantage of the peasant class, and the reason is because they can. The peasant class can't fight back, so you're pretty much always going to, the people with the guns are always going to abuse the people without the guns. I mean, that's just how life is. That's how it's been for the last 5,000 years. Don't look at the last 200 years, and say, oh, this is the way things, this is normal. Okay, you can't look at 200 years out of 5,000 years and say that the 200 years is the normal part. Look at the 5,000 years. Okay. Look at and look at the entire history, and and basically look at the average. That's normal. So basically human history is basically 5,000 years of slavery. Okay, so what's going to eventually happen is that the fighting class is going to abuse the peasant class. They're going to basically just take all the food from them, and just give them enough to live on. Because that's how it's always been. And the peasant class won't be able to do anything about it, because it's not just that they don't have guns, but they don't know how to use guns. The knowing is more important than the having, because if you know how to use weapons, there's ways that you can eventually get weapons and organize yourself. But if you don't know how to use them, okay, if you don't know, if you don't understand military tactics, having the guns is really not going to help you that much. Okay, so that's the reason why, or rather, these are the reasons why, even if you live in a place or your life is such, because you might be in a situation where you just travel around a lot, you're very nomadic, that's your job, and it's just not practical for you to have guns. Even if that's your case, you definitely want to get the training, because once you have the training, it's yours. Okay, and if you can maintain it, maintaining is an important part of this. You want to have that training and you want to maintain it, so that if the situation was such that you would ever have to be able, that you ever needed to use weapons, you would know how to use them. Okay, and not only you would know how to use them, but you would know how to train others. That's another important aspect of this. Don't just look at it as if you're in one of these situations where you don't have access to guns, it's not just you by yourself and the training that you get. Once you get that training, you are now in a position to train others. Okay, so that's another important thing to this. So it's not just you by yourself. If there ever was a global catastrophe, and you are trained in arms, you would be able to also train your friends and your family members. Okay, if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not a member of my channel, please subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.